On the A40, diversions are in place between Landovery and Sennybridge after an incident. Another collision on the M275 northbound limits 2 lanes. And on the trains, there are disruptions on the Great Northern Line between Ely and Kings Lynn, and the Great Western Railway between Cardiff Central and Bridgend. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
Oh no, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, it's 6 o'clock. I'm Michelle Dewberry and this is Dewbs & Co. Coming up tonight, of course, it was the final day of the Labour Party conference today. Keir Starmer has rebranded the not-so-small Berts the Farage Berts. Ed Miliband separately says this.
And I can sum up the threat for you in 2 words. Elon Musk.
OK. Meanwhile, Kemi Badenoch says this. Well, there you go. That was a cliffhanger. You'll have to wait till you hear what she says, and I cannot wait to see whether or not you actually agree with the statement that she made today. Also, women have been marching on Downing Street. It's a so-called Pink Women protest about migrant hotels in their neighbourhoods, while other women counter-protested them. And in other news, a win for the government as a firm linked to Baroness Michelle Mone has been ordered to repay the government over £100 million. Do you think you'll ever see any of that money again? We've got all of that and lots more. The Reform UK councillor Leila Cunningham alongside me and the former Labour advisor Paul Richards. But before we get stuck in, here's your 6 o'clock news headlines. Oh, there you go. It's not your 6 o'clock news headliners. It is me, Michelle Dewberry. What a treat for you, everybody. Look, there's lots that we need to discuss tonight. We've been following all the twists and turns of the Labour Party conference, haven't we? Well, today, I did tell you, didn't I, yesterday, to set your alarm clocks for 6 o'clock. Please tell me that you did that, because if you did, you might have seen this interview between our very own Christopher Hope and the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer.
Well, the returns agreement with France is important because we need to establish that if you come by boat, you will be returned to France. I accept the numbers are low. We had to prove the concept and prove that it could work. We've now done that, but now we need to ramp that up. I would gently point out to Nigel Farage and others that before we left the EU, we had a returns agreement with every country in the EU, and he told the country make no difference if we left. Well, he was wrong about that. These are Farage boats in many senses that are coming across the channel.
And legal net migration, that will come down to under your government.
Yes, if you look at, well, we got the Boris wave, didn't we? Yeah. Immigration went up fourfold under the Conservatives in 5 short years. It's unbelievable. And we are bringing it down. You've seen those numbers coming down. Of course, it's right to say that many people come here to contribute to our society, but the numbers need to come down, and we're bringing them down.
Well, there you go. I've heard it all now, ladies and gents. Literally, I've heard it all. And now, so have you. What do you think to that? You are welcome to join the conversation, of course, in all the usual ways. You can email me, gbviews@gbnews.com. You can go to Twitter or X and get me there. Of course, you can go to the website, gbnews.com/yoursay. Let me start with you on this one, Leila Cunningham. I mean, there's lots of different policy ideas and all the rest of it that's been bandied around, but the headlines really do seem to be kind of centred around some of the comments that Keir Starmer has been making towards Reform UK and towards Nigel Farage.
Which I think is disgusting, because when you brandish people racist or a danger to their country, you put a target on their back. Someone might think, hang on, my neighbour's a Reform supporter and I need to save my country and do something about it. He's meant to unite the country, not insult millions as racist just because they want closed borders, police on the streets and fair rules.
So let's just explore that comment that the viewers have just been hearing Keir Starmer say in that interview there, that you could essentially rebrand these not-so-small boats, the Farage boats, basically blaming on the fact that we're now not within the EU, and this is why potentially these boats are happening. What do you say to that?
So here he is again, trying to disrespect one of the biggest democratic mandates. He talks about respecting democracy, but he fought tooth and nail against Brexit. And now he's pretending that he accepts Brexit while at the same time calling back to France. People voted for Brexit for controlled migration. They didn't expect it to be an excuse for every single thing that has gone wrong in this country. He either accepts democracy or he doesn't. And I don't feel that he accepts democracy. He almost feels like the voters got it wrong. That's how much disdain Labour has for voters. They cannot get over the idea that millions of people voted for Brexit. They just can't get over it. In fact, they keep asking for a second referendum. Why? Brexit is decided.
Paul Richards, what do you think?
Well, no one's asking for a second referendum.
He has before.
We love the voters because they gave us a landslide, so no problem there either. And
Hang on, only 20% of the electorate gave you a landslide.
But still a landslide. I mean, in our first-past-the-post system. Well, what's Sir Keir trying to do? He's trying to point out that with the withdrawal of these agreements with all the individual nations of the EU, it's much harder to return people, and that is demonstrably true. But the politics of it is that he's trying to make the next election a straight fight between Labour and Reform UK, squeeze out Kemi Badenoch altogether and give people a binary choice. So I've just had 5 days of Labour Party conference in Liverpool. I don't think I heard Kemi's name mentioned once.
Oh, well, don't you worry about that. That was a right cliffhanger. There was a little bit of a technical gremlin in the system there. I do apologise for that, but you will be hearing what Kemi had to say a little bit later on in the programme. We shall come back to the Tories and Kemi Badenoch. Worry not. But before I do that, I want to come back to the point that you've just made. This whole notion that it was demonstrably true what he's essentially saying, because let's not beat about the bush. What Keir Starmer is referencing, when he makes out that these are the Farage boats, he's referencing essentially something that people call Dublin regulation, Dublin Convention. That's what he's talking about, ladies and gents. And basically what that meant was that when we were in the EU, you had the ability to be able to potentially send migrants backwards and forwards, if you would like. So you could send people and you could receive people. That was essentially what the Dublin Convention was. You're saying, are you saying that this was a good thing, that it was working well?
No. What I'm saying is if we had it in place right now, it'd be much easier to get rid of people that we don't want in this country. But instead, what we have a system with, there's a lot of bureaucratic hurdles we have to get through.
So how was that working then? So let's just pick a random, let's go 2016 to 2020. So
I'm talking about what you would do now. What you would now have agreements in place now, and that would be much easier right now.
No, I need to be clear.
Because 2016 was a long time ago.
Right. So We've got data from 2008.
But that was then. I'm talking about, but that was a different situation, wasn't it?
I know what I'm talking about. I've not lost
I'm
my
not saying.
marbles just
I'm
yet.
not saying you are. I'm just saying it's a different time. That's all.
I'm talking to you about the Dublin Convention. But this is the point that Keir Starmer's trying to land with people today. He's trying to plant the seed into people's minds that if it wasn't for Nigel Farage and/or Brexit, we would have been able to return en masse some of these economic migrants that are boarding these boats on the Channel. That is what I would basically say a complete misdirection and a ludicrous statement to make, because it is an actual fact that from 2016 onwards, and I can put a graph up on the screen actually just to show you this at home, we were receiving many more migrants in from the EU than we were sending. By a country mile.
But your graph, which I've seen, is true data from back then. We're talking about what would be happening right now with the different levels we've got and the different types of people coming here.
So talk me through this then.
So if you had a similar agreement to the one that was torn up in Brexit in place now, we would have faster returns because we would have these bilateral arrangements with all the EU nations. You don't have to do individual country-to-country arrangements. It would be quicker. That's all the point he's making. That's why he's saying they're Farage boats, because in a way, it's because of Brexit it's making it harder.
So, number one, he's blaming everyone that voted for Brexit on these boats.
That's not what he's saying.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is, because if he's blaming the boats on Brexit,
the opposite, isn't it?
then he's blaming the people that voted for Brexit on the boat. These are not Brexit boats, they're government failure boats.
No, Farage boats, not Brexit boats.
They're government failure boats, right? If he doesn't have the guts or the will to leave the ECHR, what you're talking about is the Dublin Convention that allowed us to return migrants to the first country they landed in that was a safe country. And you talk about bilateral agreements. Hallelujah, we have one. The one out, 7,000 in that we have from France. That didn't get us anywhere, is it? Because Starmer is so weak.
That's not comparing like with like, though, is it?
You just said we should have bilateral agreements.
Yeah.
Do we not have one with France?
Yes, but that's the
is
one.
Is that a success for you?
But the one you said 1 in and 7,000 out. But that's not. You're not comparing two sets of data there. That's different.
Yes, I am, because 7,000 have come in since that bilateral agreement was signed, and how many have gone out?
It's 1 in and 1 out. That's the whole point of the arrangement.
So it's a swap. So how does it reduce the amount of people?
So it's not actually 7,000 has nothing to do with that arrangement.
Yes, of course it does, because it's meant to be one in.
It's a different thing.
No, and how is it different? How is it different, Paul?
But he was also in his speech
different?
worth saying a lot of other things about immigration.
But hang on, no, let's stick to this point, because he's rolled back on that.
It was quite a wide-ranging speech.
In his usual cowardly way. He's rolled back from what he said because he's the master of U-turns, and now he's trying to blame the boats not on his failure, not on even Conservative failure. He's trying to blame it on Brexit voters. First, he insults.
He didn't mention the voters.
Yes, he did, because he...
No, he didn't. He mentioned Farage specifically.
No, and what did he mean by Farage? You said yes, and he meant by Brexit. And how did Brexit come into play? People voted for it. You can't have a cop-out. You can't say that Reform and Farage are racist and not at the same time insult their supporters.
Well, again,
you can't blame the vote. You can't blame... Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
You can't blame the... Oh, my God. Own your words, Labour. Come on. If you're going to smear millions of people, just own it.
Well, again,
you can't say...
That's not what he said.
He did not say that Reform is racist. He didn't use the word racist.
In his interview, I think, in the last few hours...
I'm sorry, in his speech yesterday, he didn't say racist.
He didn't say Nigel Farage was racist in his speech yesterday. I was sitting there watching it. At no point did he say that.
Did he say Reform is racist?
No, at no point did he say that.
What did he say?
He said some of the policies might be racist, and he said we are against racism, and that's true. And he framed the whole next election as Labour versus Reform.
No. He framed the whole next election as Labour against so-called racists. Shabana Mahmood said it was worse than racist. Wes Streeting said we were racist. Well, so you cannot one day smear millions of people as racist, and then the next day roll back on it and then blame government failure on those that voted for Brexit. Well, for God's sake, take responsibility for the government's failures.
I've just come from 5 days of the conference, and at no point has any of that caricature you've described there been anything I've witnessed or heard or seen at all. I mean, the next election...
I'm sorry, have you been attending fringe events?
The next election has been all framed about whether or not you vote for Reform as a government or whether you vote Labour as a government. And that's the government's strategy, Labour's strategy.
So you're telling our viewers...
choice.
You're telling our viewers that the Cabinet members did not say that Reform is racist and a threat to our country and... worse than racist. Are you looking at our voters and saying that's not what was said?
Well, if you can show me any evidence that a cabinet minister stood up and slagged off voters ahead of an election,
you don't say racial reasons to say that.
Right, so let me ask you this, right? At the end of the day, Keir Starmer suggested, well, he didn't suggest it, he out and out said,
Yeah.
that the policies, he regards many of the policies as racist. Right.
Policies?
So, yes.
Who makes the policies?
So if you've got a policy and then a voter votes for it, so if you've got a policy that you regard as racist and a voter votes for it, what does that make that voter?
At no
Just walk me
point...
through the common sense logic in the
At
Labour Party
no
brain.
point have you ever heard me decry a voter as being racist.
We're not talking
for
about
wanting
you.
to vote.
No, I'm asking you a really,
reform.
I'm asking you a logical question. If the Labour Party deem some of Reform UK's policies as racist, and then Bob from, I don't know, whatever, Windsor decides to vote for it, what is Bob? If he is voting
He's somebody
for what you
who's
call
probably
racist policy, what is Bob
I think
to you?
people who are minded to vote for Reform UK are desperate for change. They're disgruntled about the things they see around them. They detect a sort of sense in the community that things are not all going well, and they want something to be done about it. And our argument has to be, well,
your argument is that they're racist for wanting that. That's your argument.
No, of course not.
Yes,
what we're saying is that if you want those changes, then here are the ways to achieve it. An easy slogan and a soundbite from Farage isn't going to do it.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm going to pull you up on
The hard yards
that,
of government are actually about difficult policy
I'm
choices.
sorry, I'm going to pull you up.
And that's all.
I'm going to pull you up because your ILR, our ILR policy, indefinite leave to remain policy, was deemed racist, and that's what all your cabinet members said. And they went even further because I think Shabana Mahmood said it was worse than racist. I don't know what that means. Yet you kind of put a carbon copy policy. Would you agree?
I don't think it's a carbon copy
What's the difference?
because it predates the announcement from Farage on the policy, so it came first.
What's the difference?
So it can't be a copy of something
our
that
policy
came
came first. What's the difference?
Well, it's not a carbon copy.
OK, what is the difference then?
Well, the difference is we're in government trying to tackle a difficult
What is the difference between your policy and our
Reform
policy?
are just coming up with slogans.
Do you know the difference?
I mean,
do you want me to tell you?
The Reform policy collapsed within about an hour of being announced, didn't it? Because it was based on sand, figures that had been denied by the people who produced them. The Centre for Policy Studies disavowed the very basis of the entire policy. And look, if you're going to be serious about being a governing party and running this great country, you can't build it on sand. Policy has to be robust and stand up to scrutiny of the public and journalists and the rest. And that the centrepiece of Nigel's policy collapsed within an hour.
Paul, tell me the difference between your...
It did, though.
Tell me the difference. I've asked you a question. You've just come from party conference.
I have.
Right. You obviously know your ILR policy very well. What is the difference between yours and ours?
Well, I would say, A, we're in government and we're actually doing it.
Is that why it's not racist?
And B, it's part of a wider panoply of policies on immigration.
So why is yours
we need
not
managed,
racist?
fair immigration.
So it's exactly the same.
And we need to stop the boats and we need to shut the hotels. And those are the things that we're doing in government, as opposed to a policy you announced in a press conference which absolutely disintegrated under the first
you
whiff
obviously
of scrutiny.
let me school you on the difference, shall I, Paul? Because the difference between your...
I'm always willing to listen to other views, and if you have some insight to share, I'm more than happy to hear it.
It's not insight, it's been all over the press, if you just bother to read. Your indefinite leave to remain policy is that certain people... if you were promised indefinite leave to remain after 5 years, that's going to change if you don't meet certain criteria. No criminal record, speak English, and some kind of elusive community...
What's wrong with that? That sounds like a good policy.
I'm just telling you the policy, because are you going to interrupt everything I say, or are you going to let me speak?
Right, hang on. Don't be rude to each other, by the way, because we don't do rude...
Yeah, I'm outlining your policy
debate
and our policy, right? So if they don't meet those policies after 5 years, those requirements, it moves to 10 years. Am I correct?
Mm.
Right.
And what's the...
Is that not... Hang on. And what happens if they don't meet it after 10 years? Are they kicked out?
Well, I don't know.
Well, exactly.
But your beef is with the people being having to be...
No, my beef is being called racist.
No,
But are you, Labour, calling us racist while quietly putting out the exact same policy?
Well, the policy is saying...
You don't even know the difference. You can't tell me why your ILR is racist and why ours isn't. Can you tell me one thing that makes us racist?
The policy is about being able to speak English, being integrated in society and doing community work. So now, who disagrees with that?
Your whole party does, because when we brought it out, you said it was racist. You even said it was on that basis, it was on the basis of our policy that Keir Starmer called us racist. You just said it. But you can't tell me why it's racist.
Do you want a final comeback on that before I go to a break?
Well, I would just say that I think people should speak English, they should be involved in their communities, and they should have a clean criminal record, and that's the basis of which you can stay in this country.
Starmer would call that racist,
and I
Paul.
think that's a
Be
good
careful.
idea, and that's a good policy.
Right, so I think I've got it. I think what I'm summarising here is that when Labour say it, it's fine, but when Reform say it, it's not.
But they're
fine.
saying something different. It's not a
What? You haven't told us what the difference is. You haven't told us what the difference is, Paul.
Oh, I'll be here until Christmas at this rate, ladies and gents. There's so much that we need to continue the conversation about. I need to look at some of the things that Ed Miliband was saying, and I need to look at the response that Kemi Badenoch gave. I found this one absolutely fascinating. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dewbs, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dewbs & Co with me, Michelle Dewberry, Leila Cunningham and Paul Richards. Now, it was the final day of the Labour Party. I think they do manage to have some quite good parties from what I hear. Ed Miliband, then, he had to do the morning slot today. Let's take a listen to some of the things that he had to say.
The threat from Reform goes way beyond their climate-denying agenda. You see, the truth is, I wish Nigel Farage was just the snake oil Tory city boy we've known about for years. He's actually morphed into something even more dangerous. He's now a key part of a global network that wants to destroy the ties that bind our communities and our way of life. And I can sum up the threat for you in 2 words: Elon Musk.
Did you like his really dramatic pause there? They just paused. I can sum up the threat in 2 words: glance to my left, glance to my right. Elon Musk.
It's a very good
Calm
impression.
down, Ed.
Sounds like a perfume.
What is going on?
Well, it's the last day of conference, and he's not had much of a show and hasn't got much of a look in. Obviously, the Andy Burnham show at the start of the week, and then the Keir Starmer speech in the middle. So I think he just wanted to generate some headlines, which, of course, he's managed to do.
Yeah, but generate headlines have been ridiculous.
Well, I think, he's very political, Ed, isn't he? So he didn't want to just do a boring policy speech. He wanted to shake things up a bit.
I know, but you see, this is one of the challenges that I fear is occurring. You said that you come away from the Labour conference, you'd had a good few days and all the rest of it, but I just wonder, because I come away from having watched a lot of these speeches, genuinely wondering, do people within the Labour Party actually understand the concerns of millions upon millions of people, British people? Because when I hear, quote, that Elon Musk and Nigel Farage, etc., want to destroy the ties that bind communities and our way of life, I feel like saying, no. The thing that is destroying the ties that bind communities and our way of life is uncontrolled mass immigration. I wonder, do the Labour Party get that?
Are you not seriously suggesting Labour is not concerned about mass migration? I mean, it's been on the agenda now.
Grasp the scale of people's concern about it, yes.
I think we've been talking about little else for nearly 2 years. Through the election out the other side.
Making silly comments, calling people names, breathlessly panting Elon Musk. You can talk about it, but I'm just genuinely asking the substance of understanding.
I think those are two separate things. I think there's obviously an understanding. At least Labour MPs are in these seats like Dover. They're getting their constituents on the phone and through the door all the time, telling them they're not immune to what's going on, of course. On the Musk issue, I would say that the kind of the threat of Musk is that he is trying to skew our democracy, and he is somebody who's not a British citizen.
Was you trying to skew American democracy when the Labour Party sent a contingent over to interfere in the election to try and get
I know some of them.
over Trump?
I mean, I know some of the people that went over. They went as volunteers. They took leave, and they're political nerds who enjoy giving out leaflets. It's not the same as buying up huge amounts of airspace in the UK political space.
When Elon involves and discusses British politics, that's not OK. But when the Labour Party organised delegates to go to America and
they're just volunteers. And don't forget, Americans come here and help out with the different parties when there's an election. It's a bit of tourism. That's just tourism. But Elon Musk is on a different scale. He's not handing out leaflets, is he? He's controlling vast amounts of information going to the heads of British voters.
It's obviously one rule for you and one rule for us.
No,
like Michelle
it's a very
said,
different thing.
Your ILR policy is not racist, even though it's almost identical. You can't even give me a difference. Is racist? Is not racist. Ours is.
Are you happy with Elon Musk? Are you an Elon Musk fan?
You know why? You know why Elon Musk terrifies you, and you call it disinformation? Because it's speech you cannot control. That's it. You can't control. Although you're trying. Listen, with the online safety
you think
bill,
he's a Democrat?
you are trying.
Do you think he believes in democracy?
Do you believe in democracy?
Well, obviously I do, but...
How do you believe... Did people vote for the digital ID? Did people vote for the online safety bill? No, you don't believe in democracy. You don't believe in Brexit.
Elon Musk.
You want it over...
You think Elon Musk
is not an elected official. I want the leader of this country to believe in democracy.
Are you a fan of him?
I'm a fan for anyone that protects free speech. Yes, I am a fan of him. He is a genius. Have you thought what he's brought to...
I think he's an idiot. I think he doesn't understand...
He's an idiot.
I don't think he understands our political system at all.
Someone who's created SpaceX and Tesla is an idiot. Is an idiot.
They keep blowing up. He's wiped millions off the share price of his own company.
Labour cabinet member who's achieved...
I think he's an absolute danger to himself and others.
In what sense? I'll tell you what's a danger, is a corrupt Labour Party. Is a corrupt Labour Party that's... Yes, because you're running a country. I'll tell you what's a danger, is you trying to chip away our freedoms bit by bit with the online safety bill, the digital ID, under the guise of safety.
I don't believe he actually thinks in democracy.
You know, the problem is that the establishment used to control what we see and hear. Now we have X, and that terrifies people like you. It terrifies. No, he's not. You are the establishment. Your party is the establishment. And actually, people are waking up to they've been lied to the whole time, and that terrifies your party.
Right, well, shall we cross over to Toryland and see what Kemi Badenoch has been making so much of the conversations that have been taking place? You see, I've kept you waiting with bated breath for this clip, ladies and gents. Finally, here you go. Here's what she had to say.
They all want to face reform at the election because they think they can beat reform. They don't think that they can beat a renewed Conservative Party. Keir Starmer and Ed Davey want to put themselves as the opposite to reform because they know that a lot of people, a lot of good people, look at reform and don't like the way they behave. They know that they don't think the same about us.
So basically, the point that she was making is that she feels that the Labour Party and the Lib Dems focus on reform because they think they can beat reform, but they don't focus on a reform Tory party because they don't think they can beat a reform Tory party.
I mean, this has happened in the last, I think, suppose 6 months, really, where the whole ground has shifted, isn't it? And the discussion has been about the government versus reform. That's in Labour's interest, of course, to make that a clear choice. But Kemi's danger is that she's just being sort of drowned out. She's been frozen out of the national conversation. As I said, 5 days in Liverpool, didn't hear her name once. There wasn't the ritual denunciations of the evil Tories. It was all about Nigel Farage. So I think she's struggling to be heard. I don't think she's got permission to be heard yet from the British people. They're going to have to come with an awful lot of fireworks next week to even be noticed. And I think she's struggling.
I know that some of you watching this, you are former Tory voters, and I also know that many of you are still Tory voters, and some of you are perhaps on the fence about who to vote for next time. So when you listen to Kemi Badenoch and you hear that suggestion that actually it might just be because they think that they can knock reform out the park, but Tories are the true opposition, what do you think to that? Do you think she's got a point or not? Leila, your thoughts?
I don't laugh out loud at many things, but that video made me laugh out loud. The self-delusion of the Conservative Party and the leader is... I think that the problem is that you're right, Paul, they live in a bubble and they don't actually realise what's going on in the outer world. I mean...
I wonder, you might have an insight into this actually, Leila, but I wonder, during the Conservative Party conference next week, I'm assuming Reform UK have got some sort of spoiler or announcement or something, maybe a major defection or something, to totally derail the Conservative conference. If you were advising Reform, that's what you would do. You would dominate the agenda with some big news story, yeah?
We almost don't need to dominate. You say she wasn't mentioned in the Labour Party. I wonder if she's going to be mentioned in the Conservative Party. Or is it going to be Farage, reform? You guys are obsessed with us, and who can blame you?
Let me ask you something about the Labour Party conference, because one of the things that caught my eyes, I wasn't there, by the way, obviously I was here talking to you guys, but it did not escape my notice that there was posters up in some of the toilets at the Labour Party conference saying consent matters. Please show respect at all times toward all attendees. Check out first with people about how they feel about any physical contact, whether that's a handshake, a high five, a fist bump or a hug. Remember, if anyone says no, whether through words or through body language, you must always respect their wishes immediately. I found that utterly bizarre.
I thought it was bizarre too, and I noticed it in the toilets in the Pullman Hotel, which is the conference centre. I mean, there is a lot of people crowded in late at night, and there's a lot of, you know, who knows what going on. But I think, I don't know who would then think, well, we would better make a poster and stick it in the loos. I don't know whose idea that was.
But I found that absolutely astonishing. So this was an official, it's got the official Labour Party branding on, and I think, what on earth goes on
I don't know.
within the... Well, yeah, it's true. I'm looking at it. It's got the official Labour Party branding on it. What on earth goes on within the Labour Party where you need to tell your delegates to...
not to fist bump each other if it's like, not, you don't want to.
But what's going on? Because it's like I have operated in the business world for a very long time. You walk into meetings, you meet people. The first thing you do is shake hands. I've never once in my life walked into a room and said, "Oh, hi, would you mind if I shake your hand?" But the point in actually, if someone asked me that, I would think they were an absolute weirdo.
The point in the poster is well made, though, which is you should always take the cue, I think, from the other person and see what they want to do. So, do they want to do 2 kisses, 3 kisses? Do they want to shake hands? Do they want to just stand there? I think you can take your cue from the other person, because not everyone does want to shake hands, for example. So you're just waiting to see. I think it's just polite. We'll see what they want to do, and then you know, in that moment of body language.
Demonstrate this. Watch my microphone.
But if I stuck my hand out and you didn't stand,
so if I'm in a meeting now, come on, let's.
Can I stand up?
This probably isn't going to work.
Will it be on camera?
Stand up. Come on. Right. So now I've walked into a meeting room.
Hello.
So now I'm stood here.
But I would wait, and if you offered your hand.
Well, what? I'm waiting to see if you offer your hand.
Well, then we'll just stand and we'll talk to each other then. In Tanzania, what they do is they just stand holding hands during the conversation. And how awful is that? You see, now that makes you awkward, doesn't it?
It's not awkward to me, because I just get off.
Michelle, if I came in and said, "Oh, let's have a great big hug and a kiss," then you'd be going, "Get off," wouldn't you?
I think there's... No, do you know what I think? I think there's something strange going on in society, because I've also seen people banned from the Labour Party conference, have had their passes revoked because of safeguarding concerns, because you couldn't grant people safety if certain attendees were there. I think we are breeding a generation of absolute melts. You putting consent stickers up saying to people, don't shake hands.
No, we're not saying don't do it. We're saying just wait and see. I think that's fair enough.
You're banning people from attendance because you can't guarantee people's safety. If people like Matt Torbitz, who's a GB News contributor, he had his pass revoked, ladies and gents, because of safeguarding concerns. I really worry.
Yeah, but there was a whole GB News crew there who didn't have their passes revoked. There was a very big reception with lots of MPs, including the Minister was there, and loads of your correspondents were there with no bother at all.
Paul, can I ask you...
Chopper was there having a lovely time. Nobody tried to revoke his pass.
What do you want to ask him? Because I was about to
are you going
bring a lady in.
would you defend anything blindly that Labour Party does right now?
But what sort of a question is that?
I'm just wondering.
Well, it depends what it is, doesn't it? Obviously,
does it?
As a logical
I mean, I don't know.
person with a
You
brain,
seem to
I
keep
would
defending
think of...
the indefensible, and I'm just wondering, is there anything that you see a problem with? Because if the Labour Party doesn't see a problem within itself, then we're doomed, and so are they.
Right, coming up after the break, the pink women, the ladies that have been taken to the streets protesting, I'll be talking to one of those. I also want you to tell me as well, if you've got your heating on, 58% of people, right, apparently, they're getting very cautious about putting their heating on, about using their energy. The price cap, of course, that's just increased today, so your energy bills are going to get higher and higher. Tell me, do you have your heating on? It's getting very hot in this studio, I can tell you that for free. I'll speak to one of those pink women after the break.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
We've seen some pretty heavy rain around the Mediterranean this week. It's going to stay pretty wet and quite windy across Greece. Meanwhile, the rain clearing away from Italy and the Balkans. A few showers coming into the Canary Islands, the odd one close to Barcelona, but the Balearics turning drier after some thunderstorms earlier, along with the Balkans and Italy as the rain clears away here during Thursday, but setting up across Greece some heavy downpours and gusty winds through Thursday and Friday. Looking drier, though, in Santorini for the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A storm is brewing out in the Atlantic. Storm Amy will arrive on Friday night and linger into Saturday morning. In the meantime, a largely fine day to come tomorrow across the south like today, whereas further north there will again be a lot of cloud around, still producing outbreaks of rain through the night, especially in western Scotland. Those yellowy colours there suggesting the rain at times will be fairly heavy. Quite breezy here too, but with the cloud and the breeze and the rain, it will be a mild night. Further south with some breaks in the cloud. In rural spots we could dip down to single figures. Could also allow a bit of mist and fog to form for Thursday morning, but that should clear away. The rain, though, is going to linger across western Scotland. It's probably not too heavy through the morning, but it will pep up again later in the day. And we do have a Met Office yellow warning in place. The rain really building up through this week. Could cause a bit of disruption, the potential for some flooding. Patchy rain across Northern Ireland initially. That is also going to turn heavier. Most of England and Wales having a cloudy but dry start. As I mentioned, maybe some mist and fog through the morning rush hour, but it should clear away. The rain is going to get heavier through Northern Ireland during the morning and then through the afternoon spread into western Scotland. So again, the potential for some disruption from that wet weather. The Moray Firth may well stay completely dry and the rain will be fairly light and patchy in Edinburgh. England and Wales by and large staying dry, brightening up too with some sunshine. We could see 21 degrees Celsius, but we'll see some rain scooting through England and Wales Thursday night and into Friday, clearing away to reveal something a bit drier for a time. But look at this. This is Storm Amy, bringing rain into the northwest later on Friday, and the winds also continuing to strengthen. A windy night Thursday night, but it gets even windier on Friday night as Storm Amy moves in. Look at the isobars. There's a number of weather warnings in place. Do check out the Met Office warning for details on that. But this storm system could cause some problems into the weekend.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. In Cumbria, the M6 southbound at junction 39 has a load spillage, closing 2 of 3 lanes with a 10-minute delay. In Portsmouth, a collision on the M275 northbound between junction 1 and the M27 closes 2 lanes. On the A40 in Wales, incidents between Landovery and Sennybridge prompt diversions. Devon's M5 southbound entry slip at junction 28 is closed due to a vehicle fire. In Hertfordshire, a broken vehicle on the M25 clockwise between junctions 24 and 25 closes one lane. And on the trains, Great Northern disruptions affect services between Ely and Kings Lynn. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Hello everybody, Michelle Dewberry, Leila Cunningham and Paul Richards alongside me. I was just asking you, have you got your heating on yet? Because the energy price cap, of course, has increased. And I noticed that 58% of people, according to one poll, are apparently going to try and ration their energy usage to try and not spend too much money. And I was asking you, you're really divided on this one. One of my viewers, Anne, says, you know what, Michelle, I finally put it on. I'm absolutely fed up of being cold and miserable. She says, Sharon says, no, Michelle, I've got my 2 hot water bottles ready. And she goes, and I am not even joking. See, I like you. I respect that. I like it when, because I've not got my heating on. I'm too tight, I'm afraid. But I'm one of those people. I would put layer upon layer upon layer upon layer on before I would allow anyone to touch the heating dial in my house. I can tell you that for free. But yeah, do tell me what you think about your heating. Is it on? Is it not? But also, let me talk to you about this, because today Pink Ladies marched through London. Of course, we know this now. It is all about, you know, the hotels, the migrant hotels. People don't want these kind of facilities in their neighbourhoods. And you know how it goes. So you'll have your mums, you'll have your grandmas and all the rest of it. They'll be out on the streets speaking out. They'll say defending their children and so on. On the other side, across the road, you have the other counter-protesters. I mean, why anyone would wake up in the morning and think to themselves, there's a group of women over there saying that they don't want people, unknown men, near their kids. I don't know why anyone would wake up and think, you know what, I'm going to counter-protest that perspective. That is beyond me. But anyway, they were indeed counter-protesters out today as well. But joining me, Rita Cooper. She is a so-called Pink Lady. She was at the protest today. Good evening, Rita. Tell me, why were you at the protest today?
Why was I there? I was there to basically because we need people to know what we're living in at the moment with our children, our grandchildren, what they've got coming to them, because I can't believe what's been happening on this island and in this country. They're letting all these people in undocumented and to mingle with our children and our ladies. Like, it's scary. It's really, really scary. I've seen so many different things be going on recently. It's just not right. You know, you can't send your children to school. You know, you can't take them to the park because they're sitting there, they're pouring over them, and it's not right. No.
So what do you want to happen?
Well, I would like to see them, okay, if they come over, but then they could be like put in somewhere where they can be vetted or whatever, but not let them go amongst the streets with people. They're undocumented. We don't know anything about them. They live a different culture to what we do.
So across the road today, Rita, you will have seen, because you had the Pink Ladies so-called on one side, and if you're listening on the radio, you can't see Rita. She's decked out in her pink attire for us tonight. But so you had you ladies on one side of the road, and then on the other side of the road, you had counter-protesters, and it was people with very professional placards, I've got to say, that were saying things like "women against the far right." What do you think when you see that?
Listen, we wasn't being paid to be there today. They was. You know, they don't even know what they was there for, being honest with you. They're saying that we're far right. No, we're not. We're women. We're grandmothers. We're just looking out for our children. We're not there to discriminate anybody. We're not discriminating anybody.
Do you feel optimistic, Rita? Do you see an end to this kind of problem that we've got at the moment of uncontrolled immigration or not?
At the minute, it just don't look like there's any light at the end of the tunnel at the moment, but we're going to have to fight against this, aren't we? We're going to have to stand up for our rights and look after our children. This is what we have to do, and we will do what we have to do. We will.
Interesting. Rita Cooper, thank you very much for joining Dewbs & Co tonight. We appreciate your time. Obviously, I don't have any of the counter-protesters here. They might say that they weren't paid, but you certainly have to raise eyebrows why they all seem to have these very slick, professionally produced matching signs. Who funds all of that? That's always been a question mark that I have. These protests, I mean, it's women, largely women now, mothers, grandmas, all the rest of it, taking to the streets. A lot of them will be concerned about the likes of the Bell Hotel, where you've seen so-called resident of that hotel sent to prison. In fact, actually, there was a second so-called resident of that hotel sent to prison just a couple of days ago, as it happens. What are these people to do? They've got really genuine, serious concerns.
Well, the answer to your question was who funds it. I mean, it's the Socialist Workers' Party is behind Stand Up to Racism. It's one of their front organisations. Who funds the SWP? Well, there's a question to be asked. So, you know, most of these demonstrations do have organisers behind them. They're not spontaneous. I think it's a bit weird to go on a demo anyway on this. I mean, Downing Street didn't have any politicians in it. It was obviously conference season, so there's nobody there. I'm not quite sure if that's the best use of people's time, really.
Do you know, I'm telling you now, people will be livid by what you've just said.
Why?
Yeah. Let me. In fact, I was just about to respond, but you.
Why not just go for a nice walk in the woods and you know,
go for a nice walk in the woods?
Spend some time with your kids and maybe go to see the football or just have a nice day out. You know,
a 14-year-old girl was raped, sexually assaulted.
No, she wasn't. She
was sexually assaulted
so not raped.
by a man that was put in their town and village.
But why would you then? How is that affected by somebody standing in Downing Street to an empty Downing Street?
And who are you to tell them what to do?
But number one, it wouldn't be why.
You know why they're protesting? That is because of government failure. You know why that girl was sexually assaulted? Because of government failure, because of government policy. They shouldn't have to protest. I'm sure they'd rather have protection. I'm sure they'd rather a government that puts their rights before the rights of illegal migrants.
They have a right to be there, of course. But
obviously, you don't think so.
I do think so. I just said they have a right to be there. I just said the opposite of what you just said. I said they do have a right to be there.
Why are you questioning
There is the right to protest peacefully, of course.
Can I ask you a question?
But I'm just saying it wouldn't be my choice. Nor would it be my choice to be on the counter-protest either. I just think it's we have a democracy where you can vote.
If you've got a daughter... Right, so you've just said you've got a democracy where you can vote.
Yeah.
Right, so let's just say...
that's true, isn't it? I mean, that's demonstrably true.
Yeah, it is very demonstrably true that we've got a democracy where you can vote. So let's just unpick this for a second, for a nanosecond. People in this country have repeatedly, for decades now, voted for controlled immigration. They have repeatedly voted for less immigration, not more. They've repeatedly had the direct opposite delivered to their doorsteps, literally to their doorsteps. You have people now where they used to have nice hotels at the end of their road where their families got married, some of them might have worked, they'd have christenings there, all the rest of it. Those hotels have been now commandeered for random guys who are chancing their arm.
By the Conservative.
By
Conservative government.
I didn't say who it was by.
I'm just
yes, it was by the Conservatives.
Just pointing it out.
Continued by Labour.
Was that when you were still a Conservative?
It
was, yeah.
Yeah. It's a big mistake, isn't it?
Excuse me. These people, in some cases now, have seen children be sexually assaulted by some of these men. Not all of these men are paedophiles. I'm not suggesting they are.
Of course not.
You tell me what these parents should do.
Well, my
they are living
message...
an absolute nightmare. They don't want these men at the end of their road. They don't want that safety risk, so what should they do?
Nobody does, and my message to Rita Cooper and the other pink ladies is that the government is closing the hotels because it was a massive mistake to open them in the first place. There has to be done in a way that means they are actually closed. So you can't just say something and it happens overnight. You know, it does take time to do this, but they will be closed by the next election. And then people...
If you think that your child is in danger of being sexually assaulted by a collective at the end of the road, don't worry about it, guys. You've only got to be panicked for 4 more years. I am really sorry. I find this dismissiveness.
It's not dismissive. We're doing it. We're closing the hotels.
You are dismissive.
Quite rightly.
The Labour Party is dismissive.
We're closing the hotels.
Genuine, legitimate. Yeah, you're closing the hotels.
We're reflecting it.
Paul?
Well, I don't know exactly which, house they're going to go into, but those centres where the people are complaining and campaigning, those are going to go, and that's what the people wanted.
I really feel, and I feel it very strongly, I feel... And I am massively open to being convinced, but you're not convincing me, Paul Richards. I am completely convinced that the Labour Party do not understand the strength of feeling.
Of course we do. That's why we're closing the hotels.
Paul, let me ask you one question, if I may.
You can hold your horses. Fine. You can ask your next question after the break, because I am over my time, but you can ask your question. So we'll see you until she'll ask a question. Wait with bated breath. The excitement might kill you. I'll see you in a minute.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hello everybody, Michelle Dewberry, Leila Cunningham and Paul Richards alongside you. Till 7 o'clock, you are very, very divided. Never mind all of this immigration, all the rest of it. The issue that's dividing you at home is whether or not to put your heating on. So those of you that have, I might actually come round to your house, you know, but the others I like and I respect you and I'm in your camp because you are in the layering up, the hot water bottle brigade. I am with you. But on a serious note, energy bills have gone up again. This is really, really not good news. And I do know that many of you will be getting worried as this colder weather does set in. We'll stick in there with you. We'll all get through it together. That's what I say. You said to Paul Richards you had a question for him before the break. I have no idea what it is. So
Is your heating on, by the way? I'm always interested in
Not
with
yet,
the people.
no.
No, I think put a jumper on. I grew up in a household where you didn't put it on till Christmas.
Stop biting. Stop.
No, it's a good question.
Hang on,
That's what the nation needs to know.
Just quickly, because I know some of those women on that march, to tell them to take a walk in the park because they're protesting for the safety of their community is insulting. They don't want a stroll. They want a government that will prioritise their safety, and to dismiss it as some kind of hysteria.
Who said that?
Completely
Who said that word?
Well, just go
for
a walk in the park. Just go for a walk in the park.
No, that word you just said.
No,
that word you
just said. In the park.
Who said that?
Let me ask you a question. So the Labour Party,
Can you repeat that?
The Labour Party and people on the left
Outrageous.
have written articles calling the people who protest in Epping as far right, as racist. So if you
You've just used a word that you're now not willing to stand up.
What word?
Hysteria.
I'm not even going to repeat it.
You think the word hysteria is offensive?
Who has said?
You think hysteria is offensive but not racist? Really? You're getting in a huff and a puff because I called hysteria while your whole party is calling us racist, millions of people? That's what you get offended by? Can you imagine how offended millions of Reform voters are? Because you can use racist?
Hold on, what is it? Hang on. Am I in a parallel universe?
You can use the word.
Going on?
I said that he dismissed it as hysteria because he said they should take a walk in the park.
But nobody said that.
Right, so now you're saying we shouldn't use the word hysteria because you found that word offensive?
Yeah, who said that?
Oh, but we're fine to use the word racist, are we? And smear millions of people with that. Is the word racist acceptable, but hysteria isn't?
Where did that come from?
Is the word racist? Is the word racist?
No one is saying that.
Is the word racist more acceptable?
No, that's not the word you said.
No, that's the word you said.
Right. If anyone's just tuning in, you've got no idea what's going on. We've just had a pink lady on the show. She was out protesting today. She and many other women like her are protesting. They don't want asylum hotels at the end of the road. And then, Paul, what you were saying is you don't understand why anyone would do that.
Go on any demo.
Why don't they go for a walk in the woods?
Just spend some nice time. Go shopping. You know,
go shopping.
Spend time with your family.
Wow,
Paul.
I'm not talking to both sides.
Go do their nails.
To both people demonstrating, counter-demonstrating. I just think it's not normal behaviour, is it?
Well, do you know what?
We weren't doing that today, were we? We were all going about our business.
What's the matter with you? What is the matter with you?
I'm just saying I wouldn't do it, that's all.
And that's brilliant. Has your daughter been sexually assaulted?
But I'm just saying, in a democracy, the best way...
Have you got a daughter that's been sexually assaulted?
I don't have a daughter,
right,
Michelle.
Paul,
we don't have a democracy.
I don't have a daughter.
Hold on. If you had a daughter that had been sexually assaulted by somebody that had been placed against your wishes at the end of the road, would you be sitting there and guess what I'm going to do today? Go shopping?
I would be glad to see that the person that perpetrated that horrific crime be convicted and sent to prison, which I believe is what's happened.
He's only been sent for 3 months.
So I'd be glad that the legal system would work, and I want to see that played through.
Would you feel slightly concerned about the...
I'm just saying the people that spend their Saturdays on Palestine demonstrations, the people who go out and shout at hotels, whatever it is, it's just a strange thing to do. Most normal people do not do that. That's all my point.
So now you're saying they're not normal? Abnormal?
I'm just saying it's a strange way to spend your time.
And do you know what I think is really straight? Paul?
Isn't it?
I don't know.
When was the last demo you went on?
Right, let me tell you now.
When's the last demo you went on? We don't do it, do we?
No, you've got to stop this, honestly, because what you're doing, well, you can do what you want, actually. You're a grown man, and you're coming across as you're coming across, and the viewers will be the judge of what
most people don't go on demos.
Paul,
they do, though. They don't.
Do you not understand? Well, actually, you don't understand. It's clear and evident by your actions and your words. The sentiment of fear in this nation, it's not hyped up, it's not made up, it's not abnormal weirdos with random delusions and nothing better to do and no money on their credit cards to go shopping with.
But again, who's saying that?
There are children that have been sexually assaulted.
And that's horrific,
by men
obviously.
That you have no idea who they are. The government does not listen.
Horrific.
People have voted democratically, had their wishes completely overruled and been delivered the exact opposite. These women are in absolute despair. All they want is safety. They want their children to be able to go to school in peace, and they are terrified that because of government choices they cannot. But hey, you know what, guys? Just go shopping. You've only got 4 more years to wait. That's all I've got time for. Paul, I'm sure, is off for a shop now. I'm off to the pub. See you tomorrow night.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. A storm is brewing out in the Atlantic. Storm Amy will arrive on Friday night and linger into Saturday morning. In the meantime, largely fine day to come tomorrow across the south like today, whereas further north there will again be a lot of cloud around, still producing outbreaks of rain through the night, especially in western Scotland. Those yellowy colours there suggesting the rain at times will be fairly heavy. Quite breezy here too, but with the cloud and the breeze and the rain, it will be a mild night. Further south, with some breaks in the cloud. In rural spots, we could dip down to single figures. Could also allow a bit of mist and fog to form for Thursday morning, but that should clear away. The rain, though, is going to linger across western Scotland. Probably not too heavy through the morning, but it will pep up again later in the day. And we do have a Met Office yellow warning in place. The rain really building up through this week. Could cause a bit of disruption, the potential for some flooding. Patchy rain across Northern Ireland initially. That is also going to turn heavier. Most of England and Wales having a cloudy but dry start. As I mentioned, maybe some mist and fog through the morning rush hour, but it should clear away. The rain is going to get heavier through Northern Ireland during the morning and then through the afternoon spread into western Scotland. So again, the potential for some disruption from that wet weather. The Moray Firth may well stay completely dry and the rain will be fairly light and patchy 30 in Edinburgh. England and Wales, by and large, staying dry, brightening up too with some sunshine. We could see 21 degrees Celsius, but we'll see some rain scooting through England and Wales Thursday night and into Friday, clearing away to reveal something a bit drier for a time. But look at this. This is Storm Amy, bringing rain into the northwest later on Friday, and the winds also continuing to strengthen. A windy night Thursday night, but it gets even windier on Friday night as Storm Amy moves in. Look at the isobars. There's a number of weather warnings in place. Do check out the Met Office warning for details on that. But this storm system could cause some problems into the weekend.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. Roads around Landovery and Sennybridge on the A40 are dealing with diversions due to a local incident. In Cumbria, the M6 southbound at junction 39 has a load spillage, closing 2 lanes, expecting normal traffic by 9:15 this evening. In Leeds, the M621 westbound between junction 1 and the M62 is congested, causing delays. In Cambridgeshire, on the A14 westbound between junction 18 Spaldwick East and junction 16, a collision has resulted in lane closures. And on the trains, disruptions affect services between Bournemouth and Brockenhurst, along with Ely and Kings Lynn. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend